Welcome everyone to NoDQ&A video, if you will. That's right. I'm Aaron Rift from NoDQ.com. Let's get right down to your questions via FormSpring. How do you think Kane's career will end? How would you book his retirement storyline, and who would his final opponent be? Well, if I was booking, I would end his career the same way that it started, with the mask. Is that going to happen? I have no idea. I think it would be a great idea in terms of selling merchandise and just doing something different, because he's been playing the same character, without the mask for the past 8 years now, and it would be, a breath of fresh air. I do not see Kane getting the kind of send-off that Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair got, so most likely it'll be something unannounced. Maybe his last match will be at WrestleMania, but, he'll just go off quietly into the sunset, which, frankly, I think that's the way to go for Kane. As far as his last opponent, maybe Randy Orton, but I actually think Kane would be better off as a babyface during his last run, especially with the mask. Everyone's going to be cheering him. Perhaps he'll come back and face someone like Mark Henry as his final match at WrestleMania, with the mask just come out, destroy Mark Henry, and then that'll be it. And I think that's the way to go for Kane, quite frankly. If Kane is going to retire within the next year, do you think that it will set up a triple threat match at WrestleMania, being losers retire from WWE? I think you meant where the losers would retire from WWE. Participants being Triple H, Kane, and The Undertaker. No, I don't see that match happening. They should not be doing retirement matches every year. That takes away the whole retirement stipulation, waters it down. Yeah, I don't see that match happening. They're not going to... First of all, I don't think they're going to do a triple threat match with Undertaker. They're better off doing the one-on-one matches with Taker. And they've already done Kane and Undertaker enough times. Like I said before, if Kane has his final match at WrestleMania, it'll probably be against someone like a Mark Henry, or one of the top SmackDown heels, or perhaps it'll be a Raw versus SmackDown inter-brand match, something like that. But no triple threat, no. Hi Aaron, do you think WWE will ever do a pay-per-view from Europe again, like SummerSlam 1992 in England? I'm from Belfast, Ireland, and would love to attend a pay-per-view closer to home someday. Thanks. Well, partly because of the time delay, and partly because of the whole internet factor with spoilers getting out. I've said this before on the text NoDQ&A. I don't see WWE doing another pay-per-view overseas like that, with the whole situation. It's just not going to work out very well for WWE. I mean, they might do like a minor pay-per-view, or maybe, yeah, probably like a minor pay-per-view I could see them doing someday, but not like a WrestleMania or anything like that. They definitely do not want spoilers getting out, and yeah, just not really a good idea in this modern day and age. In your opinion, which death affected the WWE most? Owen Hart, Eddie Guerrero, or Chris Benoit? Well, I think of the three of them, I would say Eddie Guerrero's death had the biggest impact on the wrestling business. When you look at it, Eddie's death resulted in the whole wellness policy, and, it was just like a chain reaction of things. And, the whole Eddie Guerrero death with the wellness policy and everything, and eventually, Chris Benoit, he was never the same again after Eddie's death, and that kind of led to the whole thing with him finally losing it, and that whole unfortunate situation going down. With Owen Hart, maybe, it didn't really change much, because they still had guys dropping from the roof after Owen Hart's death. Sting still came down from the rafters, and the wrestling business did not really change with Owen. And with Benoit, definitely a lot of things changed, but part of that whole situation was created due to Eddie Guerrero's death. Maybe if Eddie never died, perhaps Benoit would have stayed healthy or gone out of the wrestling business, or things might have gone differently. Who knows? There's no way to really know for sure what would have happened. What are your opinions on the Home Nexus storyline? When do you think its steam ended? Well, of course, it started off really hot. When that big first angle went down, everyone thought that this was going to be, a big turnaround for WWE. And then, of course, a few days later, Daniel Bryan gets released from WWE. Now, for me, when Bryan got released, I kind of figured that, okay, WWE doesn't really know what they're doing with this storyline. And sure enough, it did not really go anywhere, after that first hot start. Yeah, and then when SummerSlam went down, John Cena won. Wade Barrett kind of, he needed that big win and he didn't get it, and he never really got it. So yeah, pretty much it fizzled out for sure by SummerSlam. But even right after the first night, you could tell, that it really wasn't going to go anywhere, and unfortunately, that's what happened. Is that a YouTube poster behind you on your wall? The thing directly behind me is actually my dad's self-portrait. And the other poster over there is True Blood. That is not mine. I do not watch True Blood. That is the mistress's poster. So there you go. Who do you think is the best heel in the last 10 years? Chris Jericho, no doubt. He reinvented his career with the heel turn, and he won the No DQ year-end awards, Superstar of the Year, twice in a row. He was the hottest thing in wrestling in 2008, 2009. No doubt about it. So definitely Chris Jericho. All right, that about does it for NoDQ&A here on NoDQ.com. You can submit your questions to formspring.me/AaronRift. And for the first time, I'm going to ask you guys a question. My question to you is, would you like to see Sean Waltman back in the WWE ring, perhaps as part of the whole storyline with CM Punk and Kevin Nash? Let me know what you think. Yes, no, maybe. Leave a comment, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Subscribe. Check out the channel. Check out the other No DQ&A videos. And we'll see you next time for No DQ&A video.